Welcome back to Stars and Strikes, guys. I'm Chaz Messman. That's Ryan Deeb. Big episode for you guys. It's going to be a short one, but a lot of positive stuff. But sadly, we're going to have to start with a little bit of the negative. Richie Ledesma tore his ACL in a Europa League game for PSV. It was his Europa League debut. We saw just how much of a talented player he was when he came on in his U.S. men's national team debut, giving the two great assists to Sebastian Soto. But I mean, that's just a heartbreaker for a young kid finally getting the breakthrough at a top European club. And, it's never a year-long setback. You just got to feel terrible for the guy.
Yeah, and coming from someone who has torn their ACL, I know how crushing that could be just to know, especially in a time for him, especially when he was coming off of a great performance with the national team. He was looking like he can definitely play a role in this team going forward. And then also starting to break through with PSV, starting to get good minutes with them, becoming a more predominant name on their team sheet. And all of a sudden it just all crumbles right in front of you. And that's not an easy injury to undergo. I think the pain of just knowing how long and how rough the recovery is outweighs just the sheer pain itself physically. So I just hate to see it, especially from a guy like him, and especially in the position he was in his career so far. It just sucks so much to see.
Yeah, and the sad thing about the ACL and, cruciate injuries is once the knee's healed, you're not quite back to 100%. We've seen it with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain with Liverpool. It takes, the 6 to 8 months to heal, and then it takes another like 4 to 5 months to start getting back into game shape and to finally, get back into the flow of how playing at a professional level is. And for a kid that's just trying to break through, that's a major setback. And, you're just absolutely gutted for the guy.
Yeah, and a lot of it too has to do with confidence once you come back, because your knee will never ever be as strong as it was, and you just have to kind of put the fact that it won't be as strong kind of behind you, and you have to say that's not going to hold you back when you're playing a game. A lot of players aren't able to come back from that. They can't fully, recover from an injury knowing that their knee's not as strong anymore. They're going to always hold themselves back. So it's also important to, once he does go through that therapy, and keep his mental game strong as well, knowing that he can push himself to be the same player that he was proving to be, and he can move forward from this. And this is no way by any means an end for anything. He's still a young guy, so he can definitely come back.
Absolutely. And we're going to shift things to a little bit more of a positive note. Get well soon, Richie. Columbus Crew, your 2020 MLS Cup champions.
Yeah, that's perhaps the most exciting news coming out of this is probably apart from some of the goals here and there that we're going to talk about later. But
that's the real exciting news. Let's come on.
That's pretty exciting too. But I guess probably the biggest news is winning a trophy, and that for Gyasi Zardes and the Columbus Crew. They did just that against the Seattle Sounders. Seattle Sounders are a prolific opponent in the MLS. You have to give them credit. They've been in the MLS Cup a few times in the past 5 years. Just
4 and 5.
4 and 5 was it? Yeah. So that's impressive to finally to knock them off their podium, and they're the second leading MLS Cup holders after the LA Galaxies, and this is, I believe, the first for the Columbus Crew. Led by our very own Gyasi Zardes. Gyasi Zardes has had a rough time with the Galaxy. He did win an MLS Cup in 2013-14 season, but this was kind of the first MLS Cup that he won leading from the front. He was their leading guy.
Yeah, and this is arguably the best season of Gyasi's career. I mean, absolutely on fire since the restart from COVID happened. He's been one of the best players, if not, a top 5 player in MLS.
For sure, and even if Zalarian was the guy in the final who got, a couple goals, he was their MVP for sure. That from the finals point of view, Gyasi Zardes was the guy that did a lot of the work during the season. He was one of their main guys throughout the course of the entire MLS season. So props to him, congrats to him. I mean, it's well deserved, and you love to see it. I'm sure that's going to do great for his confidence and for his career moving forward. So.
And one thing that we could say about Gyasi Zardes is this season, he had end product. That's something he hasn't always had. 15 goals and 5 assists in 26 games at MLS this season. That's a fantastic goal return for a guy that hasn't quite been as prolific during his career. I mean, the last couple of times he's played for the national team, he's been on fire, scoring goals. And I don't think he starts in our best 11, but he's definitely a bench option and an option in a game if Josie Altidore and Josh Sargent are unavailable.
Yeah, he's definitely proving himself to be a different player than he was at the LA Galaxy. I think it may come back to confidence as well with the Giassi. I mean, the Galaxy were in kind of a rut after he first transferred, and he, it is his hometown club actually, the LA Galaxy. But he came there, he won a trophy right off the bat, and he was never quite able to regain those heights. I mean, they went into a slump after Donovan, after Keane left, and he wasn't able to carry that weight. Now he's on a team with the Columbus Crew where he's doing great, and he's carrying a lot of the weight of the team on his shoulders. So that can only do great and wonders on his confidence as well to keep finding the goal.
Yeah, and another guy on that Columbus Crew team, Darlington Nagbe. He's a bit of an interesting figure. He pretty much said that playing for the national team is kind of a hassle and that he doesn't really want to be a part of it, but he also wants to be a part of the World Cup run. It's a very confusing thing, but the things he said, he's almost ostracized himself from the national team, but he's a very talented player.
Yeah, for sure. He didn't happen to play in the final. I think he was maybe out from injury. I'm not exactly sure, but the thing with him is that he's a talented guy, but you can't be half in on the national team. You gotta be there for our camps, our friendlies against random opposition, whatnot. You have to be there in the times when it doesn't matter if you want to have that spot for when it really does. You can't pick and choose. I don't want to play Gold Cup, I don't want to play Olympics, but I want to be there on the biggest stage of the World Cup. So I honestly don't know where his position lies with the national team. I don't know if his want for World Cup glory will push him to maybe reconsider and join a camp in the future. I don't even know if he's worthy of receiving a call up from Greg Berhalter, and if Berhalter's even interested in giving that to him. So we'll see.
Yeah, and if he does receive a call up, how are guys like Weston McKennie going to react to the things he said? That's going to be a conversation if he does end up coming to a camp. Weston McKennie's going to be like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Come on. This is the national team. Have some pride. Have some respect. Like, let's go. Weston McKennie's kind of became that, like, the sole leader of the young guys, if you know what I'm saying. The guy that's like the honor, the wear it for the badge, do it for everything. The vocal, not the captain, but the young.
Just yeah, exactly. He's got kind of that Gareth Bale mentality of Wales, Madrid golf, or whatever his.
I mean, I think a better comparison would be a different player. One of your guys you're very familiar with, Roy Keane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Almost like just the pride for your country and do what you got to do. Like, let's go. Like, if you're not with us, you're against us. That mentality that he has. I mean, you heard him say it when he was talking about with Yunus Musa, a guy we're definitely going to talk about a little bit later on today. But you got to be good enough for us. Like, you're not just, if you're talented, like, that doesn't mean we just automatically need you. This team does not need Darlington Nagbe. He's a luxury player. I mean, he can control the passing. He's a fantastic technician on the ball. His talent is, probably is a top 15 to top 20 talent in our player pool. But the reality is, the way he plays, you can't have it because he doesn't always work the hardest.
Yeah, and this is kind of the luxury that we have now in this current state of the United States men's national team. Maybe Darlington Nagbe was comfortable saying those kind of things 3 years ago when we didn't have this player pool, when he thought that he had a spot because of his talent. And now he might be looking like a fool because I could name a list of 5 to 10 players that we could take before him because he said those things that maybe I wouldn't have to make this list prior because he's just that good. But now we have the options to go elsewhere. So whether or not he's regretting those words will be interesting, and if he'll want to move forward with the national team if he gets another chance to.
And let's be real. Has Darlington Nagbe really been that good for the national team in his appearances? No. The end product hasn't been there. We've seen it in MLS at times, but the end product simply hasn't been there the way that you would expect of a player of his caliber and his talent. So, I think if Darlington Nagbe if he can somehow mend his comments with the squad and maybe just be like, I mean, I don't even know. Like, his comments might be beyond repair. I mean, you've heard some players when he did say those comments, some former players and pundits and stuff being like, how could you say that about your national team? Like, what do you mean? It's an honor to wear the badge and represent your country. I understand that it might not be the easiest thing in the world, to go play in Cuba and Trinidad in the middle of, your MLS season, but come on, like there's only a limited amount of players or limited opportunities that get to have that opportunity to play for your country. But at the end of the day, I genuinely don't think we need him. I don't think he gets into our best 11. I think he'd get into the squad, but does he start over Tyler Adams? No. Does he start over Weston McKennie? No. Does he start over a Michael Bradley? No. Does he start over Yunus Musa? No. The list goes on and on. Would I take Brendan Aronson over him at this stage in their careers? Absolutely.
Yeah, and the thing is too, if he is riding so high on wanting to play World Cup and not waste whatever time doing other things, the World Cup may not necessarily be where we would need a player like that. If he's going to talk like that and we have other players that are better, they're the ones that are going to be going to the World Cup, and we might need Darlington Nagbe for like the Olympics or the Gold Cup, and obviously he thinks that's too much of a burden. So I don't even know if he'll want to play at that level anyway. So
you're talking about the burden when we need him. The type of player that he is and how we would need to play, he fits much more of a Gold Cup type vibe. He's the type of player that wants to control possession, pick his passes, control the tempo of the game. When we're playing in a World Cup, chances are we're going to be going up against national teams that are better than us, that are more talented than us. I know we're talking about this almost like a golden generation that we have coming through, and that's great. We have a ton of talented players. But what happens when we come up against the likes of a Belgium? What happens when we come up against the likes of a Brazil? We're not going to be the ones controlling possession. We're going to have to be pressing high up the field. We're going to have to win back balls and play on the counterattack. And Darlington Nagbe is not the type of player that's going to go press all over the field. That's when you have your Tyler Adams, your Weston McKennies, your Yunus Musas, that have that high energy, the drive, that work ethic that Darlington Nagbe just doesn't have on the field.
Yep, you couldn't have said it better myself. And I mean, as much as we want to talk more about Nagbe and that problematic situation, I mean, congrats to him, congrats to Jossie winning the MLS Cup. But I think we should shift our focus to these guys, the Weston McKennies, the Tyler Adams, the Yunus Musas. Let's talk about McKennie, man. Let's bring it back a couple weeks. Let's bring it back a couple
Weston
weeks
McKennie.
To that game at the Camp Nou, Champions League blockbuster, Camp Nou, Barcelona versus Juventus. Lay it out for me. What did we see? What happened?
Oh, we probably saw the best goal the U.S. men's national team has ever seen on the European stage. Let me tell you. Weston McKennie gets the ball. He plays it out to Juan Cuadrado. Juan Cuadrado does a clip in. Does Weston McKennie head it like we're accustomed to seeing? No. He does a scissor kick. A scissor kick? I mean, when I watched this, I got up and just started cheering. I started screaming. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, Weston McKennie, take a bow. Scissor kick. Absolute power. Perfect execution on the biggest stage against Barcelona. I mean,
at the Camp Nou against Ter Stegen, there's just it was just too, and the hit itself was just incredibly clean. It looked like he hits these 5 times a week in training. I mean, a day in training, just that casually. Does. Yeah, I mean, it's the funniest part is he's on the field with Cristiano Ronaldo, the guy who you'd expect to be finishing the ball like that. But no, Weston McKennie, our United States men's national team player, is making that surge into the middle of the park, into the box, and striking the ball down with that much authority, that much confidence in him. And then the celebration after that, is one of my favorite parts, because you could see that confidence. You could see that kind of that arrogance in him, whether or not it's up to the level of Zlatan. But this guy knows that he's the position he's in. He loves it too, and he loves getting the ball. He loves scoring goals, and he loves doing what he's doing right now. And he's definitely probably in the prime of his career. And it's so great to see that energy flow from him, because you just know it's going to push him, cheer him on to do even more good.
And rumors coming out of Italy just this morning, they're going to make that move permanent. Remember, his move to Juventus was at first a loan with the option to buy, and Juventus is going to make that permanent. Oh, boy. I mean, we've talked about how his confidence has risen. We saw with the national team, all the tricks and flicks just being the absolute engine of our team. just on a whole nother level. I mean, if he can continue to just keep taking steps and steps and steps, the sky is the limit for him because the athleticism is there, the talent is there, and clearly the work ethic and the mentality is there. And if you combine all those four things, you got a hell of a player.
Yeah, he is a recipe for success. And the thing is, I know, like you said, with that mentality, you know that he's capable of taking all these things to the next level. You know he's not gonna want to fumble it. He's gonna fight for it because he has that like lion mentality in him. I mean, whether that's from playing with Ronaldo or not, it's definitely helping him. So it's great to see. And now, I mean, if you were Juventus, if you're Andrea Pirlo, of course you're going to want to sign this guy. He's in the form of his career right now. He's probably one of their main men in midfield right now. I think he's gone undisrupted on the team sheet for I think 4 or 5 successive games now, registering 2 goals and 1 assist in that time. Let's talk about his other 2 goal contributions. He had a header in the game before Barcelona. Versus Torino. That was off another Juan Cuadrado cross. And then another nice little assist to Dybala in their game against Genoa, which are both his assist was especially, I kind of like that awareness from him. Just thought it was a nice little header of a flick on. And it's just great to see that this guy can really do it all. We got a header, scissor kick out of everything, and then he's creating goals from the midfield. Even in their latest game against Atalanta, he was creating goals. He should have had another assist to Alvaro Morata if he didn't scuff the ball. But that's another great goal contribution right there. If that ball finds the back of the net.
I mean, we're talking about a guy that's finally settled into Italy. You know, he had a quick start, and then he went through a little patch where he wasn't playing as much. He was coming off the bench more, and now he's right in a position where he's in their best 11. He's one of their most important players, and I think it's his versatility that is one of the biggest things that stands out to Andrea Pirlo. Is he can literally do everything on the pitch that you ask. He can win the ball back, start the counterattack, and then finish the counterattack.
Yeah, and I think this is something that we've talked about before is that I think all it took was him finding his role in the system, because he's always wanted to do everything. He's always wanted to play every role on the field. But now I think Andrea Pirlo's ingrained into his mind the kind of player that he needs to be and his role specifically on the field. So now we're seeing all of this talent unleashed into this specific role, and it's just working really nicely for Juventus at the moment.
How about another guy scoring absolute screamers over in France? Tim Weah finding himself in an absolutely fantastic run of form. And that last goal that he just scored, absolute volley outside the box, top corner, screamer.
I know, that was special for sure. I mean, it's coming off of a good run of form from him. I think he had another goal and an assist prior to that game against Lyon. But just to have the confidence to take that crack and just go in, and you could tell just how much it meant for him. Just the goal of that caliber, that was just to all of his teammates as well, just really special. But I think it might be safe to say that Tim Weah is back. This guy might be back in form. It's took him some time, obviously with his injuries, but we've seen this form, come in sprouts here and there for Celtic and whatnot. But it may be safe to say that for Lille, this guy's back, and hopefully this means that he's going to be getting some more minutes. Right now, it's kind of been a case of him coming off the bench for like 10, 12 minutes here and there. But like we're saying, he's taking these opportunities, making the most out of them. That's 2 goals and 1 assist in 143 minutes now. It all started with his first goal, his first assist for
Europa League.
Lille in the Europa League against Sparta, and I love Sparta. You could see my Sparta scarf in the back right there. But I was watching this game for them, and then up comes Tim Weah as a right back, gets off a phenomenal assist to start cheering him on, turn the game around for a win. So.
And then how about that second, the first goal? Left-footed, side of the box, bottom corner, showing off versatility, playing right back, playing forward. I mean, the last goal that he just scored, the screamer, he was playing center forward.
Yeah, and then his goal against Celtic as well. He's scoring against big teams too. I mean, in a Europa League game, he's getting an assist, and then Celtic, another Europa League game.
Started to celebrate a little bit, and then was like, "Oh shoot, real former club gotta Got to show my respect and stuff. But you know what, Tim Weah, go celebrate. You've been out for a long time. It's
Yeah,
fine.
he deserves it.
Finally scoring goals again. Let's go.
He's
Tim
back in
Weah
form.
is back, baby.
We love it. Yes, this is a guy we were hoping to see more of in November, but maybe he just needed a little bit more time now because now he's popping off. Let's hope it keeps going.
2021 might be the year of Tim Weah. If 2021 was the year of is going to be the year of Tim Weah, 2020 has definitely been the year for Gio Reyna. Another guy scoring a fantastic goal. They lost the game, but Gio Reyna, a cheeky little chip against Stuttgart. Oh, come on. Give me some of that. Just absolutely filthy.
Yeah, they lost the game pretty bad. Like, there's no doubt about that. They lost the game 5-1, and that's pretty awful. I think it managed to get their manager sacked. But Gio Reyna, just the one positive thing from that game is that he is clinical. He's got talent, and when the rest of the Dortmund team is not showing up, he shows them that he's the one guy there that is. And the most important thing for me is that, I mean, I know they got that they lost then, but it's important to me to see his role in the team start growing, because it was especially interesting to see in their Champions League clash. I think prior to that with Zenit, they were down 1-0, and the first substitution that was made was to bring Gio Reyna on. It wasn't Jadon Sancho yet. Yeah, it wasn't Jadon Sancho until the 70th minute or so. Their first change, I believe, in the 50th minute was to bring on Gio Reyna out of all people, and I love to see that. I think it's almost time that he's level, if not surpassing, the pecking order of Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, he's now started 3 straight Bundesliga games, 2 goals in the last 3 Bundesliga games for Gio. And like we keep saying, the sky is the limit for this kid. And the most impressive thing, and I think it continues to be the most impressive thing, is how calm he is on the ball. I mean, that finish, the ball over the top, to take that touch between 2 defenders as the goalkeeper is coming out to you and to just dink it right over the keeper, that's world class. Like, there are center forwards that don't score that goal. I mean, we're talking about some of the best players in the world that might try and just smash that past the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and it was in a game that they're getting bossed too. So it's props to him for, having the confidence, having the just the raw skill just to take that on himself and score a worldie. And if that wasn't enough to jeer on the rest of his team to kind of push on for a better result for their manager, for their fans, whatever, it's good enough for him to say, look, man, I'm doing my part. If you guys aren't doing yours, I'm doing mine.
Another guy doing his part to help his team get a big win, Owen Otasowie, in his debut for Wolves, getting an assist in their 2-1 win over Chelsea. Christian Pulisic in Chelsea, for that matter.
Yeah, it was Otasowie came on at halftime, surprisingly enough, for Den Donker. I was watching the game. I don't recall if Den Donker had a knock or an injury, or it was just tactical to get Wolves back in the game because they're 1-0 down at this point. But it's good to see that Otasowie was the first guy to come in for his debut, and it was obviously the right choice for Nuno, because he came on.
Assist.
Yeah, he came on and he had an assist to level the game, and then he went on. He almost had a goal. It was a blocked effort. It was kind of fell awkwardly for him. I wouldn't expect much out of any player in that position, but all the positive from. I mean, only positives from him on his debut.
Absolutely. And talking about the assist, goes up and wins the ball, headers it down for Pondence. He does a nice little chip. Talk about beautiful goals. That's right up there with the best of them. And then how about that picture? Have you seen the one of him and Mason Mount, where Mason Mount, who's not a small guy, for soccer players, looks like an absolute midget. Like, I'm talking, he looks like a little child compared to Owen. And I mean, he's a towering giant.
Yeah, I didn't see the picture, but I was just watching him on the field, and like, you could point out every time when he's on the field, you know exactly which one's him. He's a big guy, but he's got the athleticism to match it. I mean, we're talking about DK and our young player profile, 2 similarly built guys, and they've got the athleticism to bring that build to the next level too. So it's he's going to be a special guy once he starts getting more minutes, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about a physical presence. That's not really something we necessarily have in midfield. We have, DK and Altidore up top, but in midfield, most of our guys are much more athletic, move around the field, run around guys. They're not the type of guy that just bully you. And Odasoe is the type of player that will just absolutely bully you. He reminds me a lot of, I hate saying this, but one of your guys, Paul Pogba. Hopefully he's got a lot better work ethic. Give me a little jab there. I gotta do it. But that's who he reminds me of.
Oh yeah, definitely. That kind of character in midfield is not somebody that, I mean, it makes it hard for opponents. You have players like Conte and stuff who just have that special positional awareness, who they could do it without the physical presence. But just someone like that is just not. It's not easy for opponents to, especially in the aerial game and the physical game. It comes down to more so. Less than just positioning if you want to beat a player like that. So I hope that this means that he's going to be getting some more opportunities for Wolves, because this is definitely, like you said, a player that we can use that kind of quality. Imagine that against some of our CONCACAF opponents, having a guy like that. That would be fun to watch.
And he's not just a physical, athletic, big guy, strong guy, bully you off the ball type player. He's good with the ball at his feet. Just in that game, his passing ability, his first touch is exceptional. I mean, he was able to play little 1-2 wall passes all over the place, depending if he was being pressured by midfielders, defenders, wherever he had pressure from. He was able to collect the ball, move it, start the counterattack. And for a guy that big, that young, it's extremely impressive. Another guy that we're talking about, the sky is the limit. The player pool, we've never seen anything like it for like this country. I mean, we weren't even planning on doing this episode, but so much positive goals and stuff just happened. We were like, we have to have an episode before our final recap of the series, or the year.
Yeah, and it was really cool to just see him come into the game on his debut and just kind of have such a dominant performance. It was a solid display from him. I think Nuno is definitely going to have to take that and consider things, because it was a great display, and against the big opponent too. It was against Chelsea, Pulisic's Chelsea. Chelsea was kind of doing really well in the first half, as Pulisic was on the left hand flank. For whatever reason, Lampard switched him over to the right, and then Chelsea kind of crumbled. It was actually just a testament to how good Pulisic was in that game too. Is he was totally shredding defenders on that left hand flank, and I think Frank mistakenly made the choice of putting Timo Werner on that left hand side instead, switching it up, and that's kind of when Chelsea's downfall came to them. And with the addition of Odasoe in the midfield at half, there was no turning back for Chelsea. I think that at that point, at halftime, they'd lost the game because of, Christian wasn't on position, wasn't balling up anymore, and now we have a dominant Odasoe, dominant display in general from Wolves, just pushing them on. So not the best game for Chelsea or Pulisic. Pulisic did have some positives in the first half, but mostly just what a debut for Odasoe.
What a debut for Owen. And how about Yunus Musa? What a goal. 90th minute stoppage time equalizer in the Copa del Rey for Valencia. A volley off of a corner kick. Wasn't the cleanest strike, but went into the top corner, forced extra time. Valencia went on to win the tie and move on in the Copa del Rey. Oh, boy. The goals just keep getting better and better. Like we were talking about, guys are scoring. Now guys are scoring worldies.
Yeah, and this is I'm not even sure what a division the opponent is, Teresa, but
I never.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, never heard of him. But on the stage, Copa del Rey, Valencia needs a win. They're down 2-1 in the 90th minute, and that's when they need the goal most. And Yunus Musa comes on as a sub and gets them just that, and it's great to see, because it's just these players are scoring goals in high caliber situations and when they're needed.
Scoring goals. They're not just scoring goals. They're scoring worldies. They're scoring volleys from outside the box, volleys off corner kicks, scissor kicks. Like, this has never happened in the history of U.S. soccer. Like, I know we're like kind of fanboying out here, and we 100% are. Like, we look like girls at a One Direction concert. Like, but do I care? No.
No, yeah, this is probably the first time in at least our lifetime that we're able to fanboy over players like this, players that are our age,
younger than us.
Yes, the young, even younger. It's giving players, people around the country something to look up to, and if it's a testament to where um, our program as a United States men's national team is going in the future, I think Greg Berhalter actually put it nicely when he spoke about after the El Salvador game. He was talking about the Barcelona Juve game, and how the whole camp together was watching Weston McKennie and Serginho Dest play against each other on the
We
TV.
didn't even mention Serginho Dest. We had a player playing for Barcelona against a player playing for Juventus. We
Yeah,
didn't even mention that.
it's insane, and that's exactly what Greg Berhalter was hinting at when he was watching his young squad, for that he picked for El Salvador. He was watching them as they were watching these two players, and he saw the belief, the the determination in them, that they now saw players like them, people like them from this country are playing at the top level. So this is the first time that we are able to have representatives to give our young players hope. It's people have been able to look up to Cristiano Ronaldo for generations because he's whatever, him and Messi are the goats, but have young Americans in this country had someone to look up to on the top at the top level and say, that guy, he's just like me, I have the same opportunity to get to that level, and now we do. And I mean, we're just seeing so many instances of this. Yunus Musa, Gio Reyna, Pulisic. There's just so many examples of just
Here's another
players.
one. Anthony Robinson. He's been
Oh,
playing out of
we
his
didn't even
mind for
mention
football.
Mention
I didn't
Robinson
mention
too.
Anthony Robinson.
No
He just
disrespect to the
absolutely bossed
defenders,
my
but
team. He was phenomenal against Liverpool. He shut down that right flank. Trent Alexander-Arnold had pretty much nothing for most of that game along the right flank. Nico Williams, nothing. Two of the best young right backs in the world. He was the one that won the ball back for their goal. Was it a foul? Probably. Should VAR have gotten it? Yeah. But at the end of the day, he was solid against arguably two of the best right back in the world and one of the best wingers in the world in Mohamed Salah.
yeah,
I
and
mean, this is a guy that we're questioning whether or not he can get into the team.
it's it's crazy now. Like, you talk about fanboying because we have just so much going on, and there's just so much great stuff going on. We talked about this, I think, last episode too, how frustrating it is that we have to wait um, for a while to see these guys, because this is, like I've been saying, this is the first time we've been able to see something so incredible, and that's exactly why we had to start up this show today, because we're like, dude, there's so much going on and we can't get it out through text. Let's just have a show.
Dude, we weren't planning on having this show, and we were planning on having like a 10, 15-minute show. It's been like 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're at, I
Even
think,
more.
yeah, like 40 right now. Jeez.
Dude, I mean, and we talked about Yunus Musa for third. Let's go back to Yunus Musa. Great goal. Good to see him back in confidence. The thing I really want to talk about is his interactions with the other guys on social media. It
Oh
seems
yeah,
like he's really becoming part of the team.
yeah.
Like, he hasn't officially committed, through FIFA to the U.S. He's still able to go to England and Ghana, I believe, and Italy. But it's looking more and more likely that the one he's going to choose is the red, white, and blue.
And I always, every time he posts something, I always notice in his Instagram captions, in his comments, it's just flooded by our boys. I don't know if it's like instructions that they've gotten from Greg Berhalter saying, look, if you want this guy to play for us, drop a comment, drop a like, be
See,
this
I don't even
guy's
know
friend.
if that is the case. I don't think it'd be Greg Berhalter. I'm pinning that more on Weston McKennie and Tyler
That's true,
Adams.
yeah.
I feel like that's some more like tactical that they would pull. I feel like Greg Berhalter, I don't know if he's that in tune with social media and everything. I feel like that'd be much more of a Weston McKennie
That's true.
type
But
backdoor tactics. But even like from him, he's commenting on all the other boys'
yeah,
posts.
I think I saw a comment. Musa commented on Tim Weah's post after his goal, and it's seeing these interactions. Like, I don't want to be on the record saying it, but I would not. I would bet that this guy is going to commit to our team in the future, because you look at his comments, you look at all of his interactions. Really, you don't see guys from England, you don't see Ghanaian people. It's all United States men's national team. You have Sebastian Lletget in there, you have Tyler Adams, and maybe we're reading too much into this because it is social media. But I'd like to say that camp that he had with us in November really found him some new friends and a new family that he didn't consider up until that point. So if that's the case, and we're not reading too much into it, I am confident to say that he will be our guy permanently.
Yeah, and you're talking about a new family. I mean, the birthday post to Gio Reyna was really funny. And again, we're talking about social media, so you have to take everything with a little grain of salt. That could be his agent and everything. But at the same time, all these guys kind of went into that camp for the first time for their first national team camp. Some of them knew each other through youth national teams and everything. But a lot of times, that was the first time they'd really been around each other and played with each other. And to see that they're already starting to have those bonds, it seems like they can really kind of this little like core of players that are going to grow up together and be friends. We see, all them joking on each other. I mean, Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie, they had Thanksgiving dinner together when they were over in Germany playing. So I think the off the field interactions is just as important as the on the field playing together. I mean, for me, like when I play with my teammates and stuff for lacrosse, it's just as important the time we spend off the field. Because if you're not boys off the field, how do you know they're going to have your back on the field?
Yeah, and I was as you were saying that, I was just thinking of one similarity to, I mean, at least when we played together with all of our boys, and I was just thinking, if there's one thing that's dangerous is you don't want to come across a team of all young guys of the same age, of the same friendship. That's dangerous. That's
Brotherhood, man.
If you guys got that chemistry, we could talk about chemistry, and FIFA, makes kind of a joke at that, but it's real. I've seen it work. And if that's something that's building in this
chemistry
team,
off the pitch equals chemistry on the pitch. It's
going to be dangerous,
it
man.
It works.
Yeah, it seriously does, and it's gonna be threatening if these guys continue to develop on this path towards the future.
And hopefully they do as we move into 2021. Thank you guys all for joining for what was supposed to be a short episode, and then just ended us with us being a bunch of fanboys and like being all like geeking out over, oh my goodness, another great goal. And then we're like, oh, another one. And they just keep coming. And hopefully they keep coming in 2021. But yeah, we'll wrap up the year with a 2020 recap show right at the end of 2020. Hopefully 2021 is better for us in the world. And by that, I mean, not just soccer, COVID. Hopefully this crap's done and over with. So everybody mask up, do your part, social distance, and we'll see you back here right before the end of the year. For Chaz Messman and Ryan Deeb, see ya.
See you guys. Have a good one.